90% of you who are learning to play the piano make this mistake that makes having a piano teacher absolute waste of money.
So what is this mistake? It's not taking initiative and not thinking for yourself. There's a really common misconception, and that is that piano teachers are there to teach you piano, and you just have to lay back and let it happen. That's just not it.
Learning to play the piano is basically a two-way street. You receive information and you're asking for information. So the more curious you are, the more information you're going to get if your teacher is good enough. Reconsider everything and imagine that it's really like a tennis match.
And I would honestly disagree with you a tiny bit. I don't even think it's a tennis match. I don't consider it as a tennis match. I consider I'm learning a new skill. I'm responsible 100%. And along the way, if I hire a teacher, he's there or she's there to give me a helping hand, but it's me. Ultimately, I'm responsible for finding out everything. I take full responsibility.
And the initiative you need to take is at two places. Think of it like this. When you're at home and when you're at the lesson. So when you're at home, when you're practicing all the tips and tricks your teacher is giving you, make sure that you create new problems. And that's basically by trying things, experimenting, being curious, going extreme one way or another, and creating new problems for yourself and for your teacher to solve together. So when you go back to the lesson, you'll be like, hey, I tried this, but it didn't work. Or I created this piano schedule, it didn't work. Or I'm trying this in the passage, this fingering or this phrasing, and it absolutely sucks. What do I do wrong? And that's what initiative is. Thinking for yourself, trying things, and giving that information to your teacher so he can give you something back.
And so what we also need to see, the first place of initiative is at home. The second place that you have to take initiative is at the lesson. Ask the questions that you had from your practice at home, but also take initiative in applying what your teacher is telling you.
For example, what I see in the lesson is I'm giving some information. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm giving some information, and there are those students that I see them thinking. But not only that, they go a step further. They ask me at that very moment, why is that the way that I'm suggesting, and what's the reason for that, and how can I apply it better? And that works so well because me as a teacher, I see that you're curious, so I'm offering you even more, and there is a nice discussion and there is a nice understanding. So basically, it's like you put the pan on the stove and the water starts heating up and starts boiling, instead of me just giving something and it goes away. And I even don't know if it's going to work. The student even might forget it later.
So you made that change in your mind. You're now aware that actually, wow, you're really responsible in teaching yourself to play piano. Your teacher is there to help you and to speed the process up. So once you've made that switch in your mind, what would be a good way to start? How do you start taking initiative? And I would say start at the musical basics, right? You're practicing a piece now. Start with rhythm. Take initiative there. Do you understand the rhythm? Ask yourself questions. I think that's a lot to do with initiative, asking yourself questions. So start with rhythm, start with fingering, and start with phrasing. Start asking yourself questions. See if you know what you're doing, if you understand everything. I think that those are three basic areas to start with, taking initiative.
Well, they're the fundamentals also of piano playing.
Exactly.
So it's great.
And when you take initiative, exactly like Dimitar said, there will be open up a lot of questions for you, but that is how you learn. If you every time try and ask yourself the question, do I know what fingering to choose here? And you try, even if you get stuck on the first bar, you tried, and that will actually teach you more than your teacher ever can teach you by just telling you information.
But I think I was thinking when you were talking this, could it be that it comes sometimes from shyness or from being afraid to look...
Lack of confidence?
Yeah, being afraid to look stupid if you ask a question. And I never thought a question was stupid. I always thought the stupidest thing in the world is not to ask questions. Because if you ask questions, the curiosity in itself is so attractive and so amazing in a student, because this person is willing to learn. So don't be afraid to ask questions. No teacher is ever going to laugh at you because you want to know why something works.
And if he does laugh at you, you should actually fire him.
You anyway have to fire all your teachers.
So good news for those of you who are actually self-taught. It is a self-taught journey in that sense, right? It's going to be down to you to learn piano. It's going to be down to you to feel how your technique works, how your body works, how your brain works, because everybody's brain works differently. Everybody is going to learn pieces slightly differently. Everybody is going to memorize pieces slightly different. Everything is different because you're unique. And I mean, you have the guidebook about how you learn, right? Your teacher is not going to have that, even if he or she is very good.
And even as a self-taught, you have to ask yourself the question, are you a curious self-taught pianist, or are you a self-taught that is just doing something?
Absolutely.
Because I think that's for another video, how many of the people who are self-taught really think for themselves. You
Absolutely.
have the label of being a self-taught pianist just because you don't have a teacher, but are you curious
Are
enough?
you actually self-taught? Because
Exactly.
how much
Are you
did you
actually-
teach yourself?
Are you actually teaching yourself? So anyway, that's what we wanted to share in this video today, because it's a very interesting concept, a very interesting idea, and it might trigger you to really be more brave and more curious. Now, don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel even if you don't want to. And what else do we need?
Actually, I was wondering, because it got me thinking. You told me recently that you read somewhere that people have the concentration of a goldfish or something?
A little less.
A little less, so 8 seconds, right? The attention span, that was it. You told me people have the attention span of 8 seconds. So I'm curious, how many people will have not watched the video or will have watched 8 seconds, will leave an angry comment down below saying, how many frustrated teachers will leave a comment down below? I
don't
find
know,
that
I'm
interesting.
curious
And will be
what
angry
you
about
think.
our suggestion of firing your teacher. How many people? What do you say?
3.
3. Okay, I'm going to be more positive. I'm going to say 2.
2 angry comments?
2 angry
Yeah.
comments, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said 3, so you can't take it back.
Yeah. Yeah, that will be very interesting.
If you have a prediction, drop it down in the comments below. So anyway, don't forget that Dimitar has some beautiful music out on Spotify.
You can see the link below.
We linked it down below. We have it in a playlist for you called Piano Stories. It is a very nice playlist, not only with Dimitar's music, but with all kinds of lovely piano works. Don't forget, like and subscribe if you want to.
And of course, if you don't want to.
And we've been talking about, being a self-taught pianist, even if you have a teacher, right? But if you actually are a self-taught pianist, don't forget to check out this video because we give a lot of tips over there specifically for self-taught pianists.